Breaking news, the Kansas City Chiefs have traded offensive guard Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. Welcome into this breaking live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we react to this breaking news coming within this past hour that Thuney is off to Chicago. And on this live show, we're going to hang out and we're going to share our reactions to this trade, whether you love it, you hate it. I want to know. I want to hear from you guys, and let's have a good time with this today. I know that Joe Thuney was well-liked, well-respected guy. I love what he did for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is certainly going to be missed. There are already a number of people that are not liking this move. I want to hear from everybody, whether you loved it, whether you hate it. Let's let everybody chime in here. And there is no mailbag today, so the only way I can see you on screen is by sending a super chat. So if you want to get your thoughts in on this move, if you got a question for me, whatever it may be, feel free to super chat us and get some screen time on today's show as the Bears are now bringing in Joe Thuney. We will get to the trade details in a moment as well, as the Chiefs are not getting much, if we're going to be honest, for Joe Thuney. This coming from the Athletics' Diana Rossini just a few moments ago. Trade is official. The Chiefs are trading Joe Thuney to the Bears in exchange for a 2026 fourth-round pick. Sources tell Nate Taylor and me, and there you can see for yourself on your screen the trade details coming in. A 2026 fourth-round pick, not a pick this year, but next year's draft, 2026 fourth-round pick for Joe Thuney. And the Bears are expected to immediately give Joe Thuney a contract extension. And what's interesting, too, is that the Bears were thought of among the insiders and the public to be the team to watch for Trey Smith. And Trey Smith obviously ended up getting franchise tagged. He's coming back to Kansas City. Chiefs are keeping Trey Smith, of course. And so now they go with the other offensive guard, the older offensive guard in Joe Thuney at 32 years old, and bring him in. And here's my big takeaways from this, all right? Just a couple opening thoughts here as we kind of set things up and get this going here. Number one, am I surprised by this move? No, I'm actually not surprised. We had him as a potential cut candidate just earlier in the week. We mentioned that was a possibility that Kansas City could cut him and save some money and potentially move on from him in that pathway. Would I have liked to have Joe Thuney still on this team? Of course. I love Joe Thuney. He's been awesome for this team. I think he's a future Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the Ring of Honor someday. Yes, I would have personally rather extended Joe Thuney here. But with that said, here's a couple things to keep in mind. The Chiefs have a track record of, over the years, where they kind of do things the Patriot Bill Belichick way, where they rather get rid of a player a year too early than a year too late. And although Joe Thuney's coming off a season where he was the Chiefs' team MVP, all right, was a Pro Bowler, had a fantastic season, was very helpful for this Chiefs team of playing the left tackle position when they had their concerns. All of that being said, this is something where the Chiefs are saying, look, we have to plan for our future, and Joe Thuney is not getting any younger here, and we need to potentially save some money. And they're trying to get ahead on this. Think about this as well. The Chiefs, typically speaking, they do not like to give a third round of contracts to a player. And this would have been Joe Thuney's third contract, and that's not something that Brett Veach typically likes to do. And you free up $16 million in cap space. Now you potentially have some more money to re-sign a player like Nick Bolton or a Justin Reid. And then here's the other thing that I would also keep in mind about this, of some opening thoughts here. There is some discussions. It sounds like that the Chiefs are leaning towards moving Kingsley to the left guard spot to replace Joe Thuney. that has me a bit nervous because Kingsley did not play very well in 2024. Granted, it's at the left tackle spot. Maybe he's more of a guard at the next level, but that's some big shoes to fill. And you still have a problem to fix at the left tackle position, whether you go sign somebody or whether you draft. I have a hard time imagining that this offensive line that wasn't that great in 2024 is going to get better in 2025. But maybe Brett Veach has something up his sleeve where he could potentially pull this off. We've seen that Brett Veach over the years, his track record speaks for itself, right? Where Brett Veach finds a way. Where there's a Veach, there's a way, as we say around here. So those are kind of my opening thoughts. As you guys file in, I know we got a lot of people just now joining us. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from as we get this show started today. We have on the ones and twos today, making his debut of the Chiefs Report, Brett Alper is here with us. You'll hear from him coming up in just a moment whenever he's ready to join us. I believe I got like an internet issue on my end. The stream is buffering. Do you see that? Do you have any issues on your end? Okay. I'm coming in clear still? Okay. That's good to see. All right. That's the most important thing, as long as you guys can see me. I can't see myself, but nonetheless, shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching today's show from. It looks like it's just my internet on my end that's having some issues. But nonetheless, shout out your city. I might have to have Alper give the shout-outs of where you guys are watching from. Alper, welcome into the show.
I'm not Big Tex.
You are not Big Tex. You're not Big Tex, but we're glad to have you here. You know Joe Thuney very well. I hate to break this to the kingdom out there, but you are a Patriots fan.
I am a Patriots fan.
But we now share an affinity for Joe Thuney of a player that played for both of our teams that has since moved on. Joe Thuney, what a great career. I got nothing but positive things to say about the guy. What do you think? What do you think when you think of Joe Thuney?
I loved him for his time in New England. I mean, he went from winning, I think, 2 Super Bowls with us to 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs, and just a leader that you want to have on your team. When I saw that he was being traded this morning, right when I woke up, I was like, how old is Joe Thuney?
32.
Yeah, 32. And it kind of, the first thing I thought of was, okay, they're dedicating their future to Trey Smith, who's 25 years old. Like you said, Tyler, they don't give that third round of contract. But Joe Thuney, I mean, he's done everything that the Chiefs needed him to do for the amount of years that he was with the team, and just amazing offensive guard. And the Bears are getting a good one.
Yeah, they are. And I know people are going to complain. I'm already seeing people in the chat. As you guys shout out your city, we'll give you some shout-outs in a moment. I'm still having internet issues on my end, so I can't see it.
Have you refreshed the page?
I have refreshed. I've reset my internet. It's taking a moment here. All right, now I'm seeing some folks in there. Shout out your city. Let us know where you're at. I got Tony in El Paso, Laura in New Jersey, Loren in St. Joe. I got Paul in Tonganoxie. What else we got here? We got Roy in the Netherlands. Loren says, what up, Alper?
What's going on?
We have Marie checking in Rancho, California. Appreciate you all being here. With all this being said, of this move, of Joe Thuney leaving here, it's a risk, but it's just one where I'll say this, Brett. Well, the Chiefs are fortunate Brett Veach is their GM in this circumstance, because if you had a GM you didn't trust, then we would all be sitting here and being like, literally, the reaction would be, what in the actual hell? You're moving on from Joe Thuney, and all you sell for a 4th-round pick? And you have major question marks on your offensive line? That would be the reaction. But because this is Brett Veach, and he's been through these situations before, then I give him the benefit of the doubt. On the surface level, do I like the trade? No, if I'm going to be honest with you. On the surface level, no, I don't like the trade. But because of what Brett Veach has done, he has earned the respect where we just have to sit here and say, okay, he must have some plan figured out here.
You trust him.
Right.
You trust him. You've seen what he's done in the past. He's always one step ahead of what everybody's thinking. And right now you could be like, okay, why are we trading an all-pro offensive guard and a guy that's getting up there in age? You trust him, so you assume this is going to work out long-term.
Right. And Loren, spot on, says, no, I don't like it, but in Veach we trust. Yeah, exactly. We're just going to have to trust Brett Veach on this because on the surface level, it doesn't seem like an ideal thing. But with that said, he's got a track record that says he knows how to navigate these situations. And not giving a third contract, that's something the Chiefs don't like to do. So they avoid that here with Joe Thuney. And he's 32 years of age at this point. I do wonder, all right, what I think's going to happen, Alper, is I would assume they prioritize the left tackle spot, whether it's signing a Ronnie Stanley or Cam Robinson, go with a veteran there, and then roll with Kingsley at the left guard spot, draft some more offensive linemen potentially, and see what you can work with. It's a gamble. I don't know if it's going to pay off. And the scary part about this is of talking about going into some untreaded waters here. The Chiefs have not figured out the left tackle spot since Eric Fisher left town. You tried Orlando Brown for a bit, and you had this charade of whatever you want to call it this year, and it was just a mess, if we're going to be honest, of how the left tackle position went. And now you're going forward from here with uncertainty at both the left guard and the left tackle spots. I think they prioritize fixing left tackle, but I'm not feeling so great at this point in time, knowing that you have two obvious needs in that position of the line right now.
And now you go into free agency, which starts on Monday. You could go and draft, but if you want to go into free agency and get a guy like Ronnie Stanley, are you going to be able to outbid a team like the Patriots that have $128 million in cap space when you know a guy, all the top offensive linemen are going to get paid? Are you going to be able to afford a guy like Ronnie Stanley and fix that offensive line?
And still pay Nick Bolton and Justin Reid potentially here. It is a big risk as far as that goes. Let's get the chat going a little bit.
All right.
I got about 35 people in the building right now. I know we can do better than that. Folks, time to wake up a bit. Time to wake up. Let's talk some Chiefs football. Let's talk Joe Thuney here. Spam C in the chat. I want to see as many C's as we can. Give Alper a warm introduction to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. His first live show. He may be a Patriots fan, but he is one of us today, for today only. And Tony, I'll tell you this, Tony. You're always asking Big Tex for workout advice. Alper, he hits the gym too. He could probably give you some advice if you're looking for that, Tony. Spam C in the chat. I want to see as many C's as we can. If you're excited for this live edition of the Chiefs Report, you want to shout out from Alper, get those C's in the chat. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I see Paul, Tony Fuentes. He's in the chat here. I don't know how well my advice would be, but I can still give you some. Paul D, Lore. Come on, I want to see some C's. Let's keep them going.
Keep them going.
Keep them going. Keep them coming. Tony Fuentes and Paul are having a C battle. Lord says Mahomes needs protection. Lord, there's room for everybody in the kingdom. I can't leave my team.
Well, very nice of Loren, though.
But very nice. Very nice. I do appreciate it.
Spam those C's.
Spam those C's.
And Alper's shouting them out here.
Tony Fuentes with a triple C.
Triple C. I hear Tony Fuentes. He's a triple C guy. Who else we got? Let's get some new names in there.
Yeah, let's get some new names. Paul and Lauren, we see you.
Keep on going.
Lil Cortez got a question. We'll get to the questions in a bit.
Lil Cortez says, I think we should use 31 and 66 and the Thuney pick and trade up for Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks would be nice. He might be a guard at the next level, potentially speaking. I'll say this. Like, I'm normally like the youth movement guy, kind of like Brett Veach in that sense. I like to have younger pieces, but I don't know if you have time to develop a left tackle. I think you might have to spend in free agency to shore up that position right now. Who else we got?
There we go. We got C.J. Lewis. Brandy Smith says hi. I see Richard Martin in the chat. Neil Brown at work on break. And what a great way to spend your break, watching Chiefs Live.
Okay. Now, Tony called you Albert. It's Alper, but we get the idea. He's got the workout question for you. Tony says, all right, my guy, I got a question. When it comes to static stretching, okay, can I do it before my cardio or do static stretching another time?
I would stretch probably before cardio.
You probably should stretch before anything.
Cardio. Yeah, stretch before. I cheat a little bit, and I don't stretch a lot before my workout. I also cheat. People tell me that you're not supposed to do cardio after your workout. You're supposed to do before it, but I like to do it after, which is the wrong one. But no, stretch before cardio, stretch before your workout.
Let's see. CJ says, what does this do for our cap situation? It frees up $16 million.
That's a lot.
$16 million is now freed up for bringing in Joe Thuney. For those wondering at home, $16 million is now freed up in cap space as far as that goes. Let's go to the Super Chat menu. There is no mailbag today, so the only way you can get on screen and share your thoughts on Joe Thuney heading to the Chicago Bears is by sending us a Super Chat. Could be $1, could be $5, could be $50. I don't care. We'll show you some love for any amount. I need at least one Super Chat today. $sign next to the chat box. First-time Super Chatters get the KC chant. $5, do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get bean boozled. $50, we will do a beer bong. And send us a Super Chat if you'd like to get some screen time today, and we'll show you some love here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Reports. By the way, Tony says, sorry I confused your name, buddy. I work out today. It's back day.
It's back day. It's leg day for me.
Okay.
It's leg day. But that's okay. I've heard it all. Tony. You're all good.
Tony's a legend around here, around these parts.
That's what you were telling me. Tony Fuentes. He gets around Chiefs Live, all over the Chiefs Report.
And then we got another one for you. Another miss of your name. Alpert, says Dallas. Who would you think we should sign, Nick Bolton or Justin Reid? Which I said yesterday that if I have to choose between the two, I'm going Nick Bolton, and I don't think that's a tough decision. I like what I saw from Jaden Hicks, where if you lose Justin Reid, you can manage, because I think Jaden Hicks can get the job done. What about you? Which one would you rather keep?
I'd probably keep Nick Bolton. I'm a big linebacker over defensive back type of guy.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. There's the Super Chat menu. I know it's early, but we still have plenty of beer. We got some shots. We can enjoy ourselves and have a great time. Tony says, I like giving my workout advice. From Big Tex. Now you're my guy,
Let's go.
Albert.
Let's go.
He got your name wrong again.
It's all good.
Albert. Let's see how many names people can come up with for Albert today.
A lot.
Big Al. You can call me Al. His first name's Brett. You can call him Brett too. But yeah, that's hilarious. That's good stuff. Let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey. Maybe you're like Alper and I, and you're checking out the fantasy points in NASCAR.
Some NASCAR.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks, folks, in less than 60 seconds to turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I'll put Prize Picks in the chat right now so you guys can check out Prize Picks, and you'll be glad you you did. Prize Picks, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Appreciate them for sponsoring today's show. In case you're just joining us, the Chiefs have traded Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears in exchange for a future fourth-round pick. We have our first Super Chat of the day. We'll go to Loren here in just a bit. No mailbag today, so the only way you can get on screen is by sending us a Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and get some screen time on today's show and share your thoughts on this move as well as everything else going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. If you got a question of any sorts, the only way we're guaranteed to see it is by you sending a Super Chat. Loren's a first-time Super Chatter, too. So we appreciate Loren for doing so. Super Chat, and that's the way you can get on screen today. And CJ says Alper can't be his real name. Sounds like an NPC name. I don't know what that means.
It means I'm a fake person.
Okay. No, that is his real name.
That's my last name, CJ.
His first name's Brett. His last name is Alper. But
good first name for a GM.
Yes.
Good first name for a GM.
That's from yesterday's show.
It just switched on me. Hold on.
We do have some Super Chats. Let's answer these. And a first-time Super Chatter from Loren writing in. Cute kid there, by the way. Very nice.
Very cute.
First-time Super Chatter. We'll do the chant for you, too. Says the following: who can we realistically keep with the $16 million in new cap space? So before the trade, the Chiefs had about $18 million in cap space. Now you add 16 to that total, and I think that Nick Bolton and Justin Reid both can be re-signed, and potentially Hollywood Brown as well. And you got more money coming because Patrick Mahomes is going to get restructured. And that's going to open up about $38+ million. You're going to have a number of other guys get restructured. I think that you're going to be in pretty decent shape on that front. So, yes, Loren, this helps out when it comes to the financial terms, certainly. Even if you're sad that Joe Thuney's gone, this certainly helps out the financial situation. But, you know, we've seen these moves before, Alper. Like, you think about Brett Veach here, and we'll pay off the Super Chats here in just a moment. But of the financial situation, you know, Tyreek Hill, you traded him, you got a haul, that worked out.
Yep.
Last year, it was L'Jarius Sneed, and that, I would say, worked out for the most part as we saw Jalen Watson do a pretty decent job, and I'm optimistic about his future, and Trent McDuffie stepped up in his play here. This, I would say, is, you know, the Tyreek Hill one was the one I was most nervous about because you did give up an all-time receiver. But I think this is a close second of the uncertainty here. I think L'Jarius Sneed we could all live with. That was fine. Yeah. But of the most recent moves, this is the one that has me the most concerned, a little nervous, because there just isn't an obvious solution here like maybe there was with some of these other moves.
I kind of look at it, I mean, me being a Patriots fan, I kind of look at it, the Chiefs are taking the same route as Belichick took it back in the day. We see a tiny bit of decline. You're getting up there in age, and we can just retool this player. You've seen throughout the Patriots dynasty, they'll let go of people, and you're like, how are you letting go of this guy? He's in the prime of his career. Well, Joe Thuney's also 32 years old. They think that they could probably find someone in the draft. You don't even have to be the same talent as Joe Thuney. You just got to give about 60 to 75% of production that he gave, and the Chiefs probably think, okay, we have the best quarterback in the league, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, under center. We can survive.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes covers a lot of your flaws.
Exactly.
And the offensive line, not great. I think this says that, hey, we're going to fix the left tackle position first, and then we're going to take care of the left guard spot. Loren, we got to pay off the Super Chat. I owe you a beer. Cheers. It is only 10:12 in the morning. But it is beer o'clock here on the Chiefs Report.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Loren, cheers to you. Everybody spam Loren in the chat for being a first-time super chatter.
There we go, Loren.
Cheers to Loren. Go Chiefs. Oh, beer at 10 o'clock in the morning. Nothing like it, right? I do owe you the KC chant. So for Loren, Kansas City. There you go. Everybody spam Loren in the chat. Show Loren some love for being a first-time super chatter. Salute to you. Thanks for supporting the show. Dallas Countryman with a $5 super chat says, what do you think about trading up to get Malachi Starks and then let Justin Reid walk and sign Nick Bolton? I don't know. I don't know about that idea. I like Malachi Starks, but I'm not so certain. I'm not so certain about that working out in that sense. Malachi Starks, I think the comparison I saw of him the other day was to Kyle Hamilton, and I like Kyle Hamilton.
I like Kyle Hamilton a lot.
That was kind of his comp, but then you still have, what do you do about the offensive line situation? And what are you having to trade up to get Malachi Starks? Because some people think he could be a top 15 pick. So that starts to get a little expensive there. So Dallas, I would lean towards no. I would say this, Brett, it's not a knock on Malachi Starks per se, but it's, okay, I'm going to let Justin Reid go. I'm going to give up draft capital to move up, and I'm betting on a rookie to replace Justin Reid. Like, there's too many variables for me right there.
It's too much of a gamble. It's way too much of a gamble. You know what Justin Reid is. Malachi Starks, I mean, great player. Players from out of Georgia, always incredible, but I'd take what I have before going out and just saying, hey, let's try this. Because we saw how the Chiefs' defense was in the past, and it was a liability, and it feels like they finally got it together. And do you want to let these guys walk and then get people in the draft and, like I said, take a gamble?
Yeah. Dallas Countryman, I do owe you a beer cheers for that. Everybody raise your glass, whether it's coffee, water, maybe it's your Celsius to start your morning. For me, it's beer o'clock. Cheers to you, Dallas Countryman. All right. Let's go back to Super Chat menu. The only way you can get on today's show is by Super Chatting. There is no mailbag today, so if you want some screen time, send us a Super Chat. All it takes to get on screen, I know some people say that, I don't have the money to Super Chat, whatever it may be. $2 is all it takes, and you can get whatever message you want on screen. And that's the only way that we can get your message on screen today is by sending us a Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box if you want to contribute. First time Super Chat is get the KC chant, $5, beer cheers, $10, take some shots, $20, get bean boozled, $50, we'll do a beer bong. Man, a beer bong before 11 a.m. would be electric if we could make that happen. So that's the way you can get on board. Dallas Countryman, his message somehow ended up below his next Super Chat, but he asked, where do you think Ashton Jeanty is going? And I've seen that Ashton Jeanty, there's discussions about him potentially going as high as top 10, which is crazy for running backs. We don't typically see running backs go top 10 anymore. No. Bijan Robinson went top 10 a couple of years ago. That's just not the way the league has gone. But he is a one-of-a-kind running back. He is built different. He's got great speed. He's got great power. Obviously, he rushed for over 2,000 yards at Boise State this year. I think the Chiefs do draft a running back this year, but I think it's going to be like day 3. I think it's going to be like an Ollie Gordon or a Devin Neal type. I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to the Ashton Jeanty sweepstakes. But you think about Kansas City's running back situation. I don't think Kareem Hunt's coming back. Isaiah Pacheco, I have some questions because he didn't look like the same running back that he once was when he returned from injury.
Was he fully healthy, though?
He says he was. I don't think he
did not look like it.
He didn't look like himself.
He always looks like he's running angry.
And so with that, I wonder, okay, is Isaiah Pacheco ever going to return to form, or is this who he is now? I don't know. And so I think that they're going to be drafting a running back. And when it comes to, we told you on yesterday's show that the Chiefs are not offering an extension as of right now to Isaiah Pacheco. They want him to prove it first. I kind of lean towards Alper of not extending Pacheco at all. Even if he has a great season, maybe you sign him to a cheap 1 or 2 year contract. But I've always been of the belief when it comes to these running backs, you bring them in young, you run them into the ground, and then you replace them with a younger, fresher running back. And I very well could see Pacheco's days being numbered.
I also think that. I'm a big guy that believes in your running back does not truly matter.
They're replaceable.
They're so easily replaceable. I don't want to bring up a sore subject of what happened 1 month ago, but you shut down the running back completely, and they still won. I'm not going to say the team's name because I can't stand them.
Okay.
But you shut down the guy who just got a $40 million extension, which I think is laughable. I can't believe they actually gave him that money. We're talking about Saquon Barkley here. But if you look at the past Super Bowl winners running backs, when have you seen, besides this past year, when have you seen a team that has a top running back win the Super Bowl? You don't.
When was? Trying to think.
Besides this year.
Because
if you go back, I mean, Pacheco last year, you guys won 2 in a row. The Chiefs have never had a top running back during the Mahomes era.
Let's see.
I mean, who was the Rams? When the Rams won it, who was their running back?
Because it wasn't Todd Gurley.
No, it was not Todd Gurley. But they made it to the Super Bowl, and Todd Gurley was their running back.
Was it Cam Akers?
It might have been. I think it was Cam Akers.
Cam Akers is okay.
Yeah, but you don't ever see a top running back. Like, you've never seen Derrick Henry make it to a Super Bowl.
Right.
So I just think that, like you said, running backs are super replaceable. If the Chiefs let Pacheco go, when he got hurt, they brought in Kareem Hunt, and they were still productive. You don't need a running back.
Right.
You can find one in the draft, in free agency, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Super chat menu. The only way you can get on today's show is by sending a super chat. I saw Loren was saying that Loren was tempted about buying a beer bong. You will not be disappointed, Loren, if you decide to buy a beer bong. I will guarantee that you will be a very satisfied individual if you decide to send us a super chat for a beer bong. We'll make it happen. $50. First time super chatters get the KC chant. $5 do a beer cheers. $10 take some shots. $20 get being boozled. $50 do a beer bong. Dollar sign next to the chat box if you would like to make that happen and get on today's show. Coming up in just a bit, we're going to talk about Brett Veach, of the moves that he's made here this last week. You had the franchise tag on Trey Smith, and now you trade Joe Thuney. What is this man doing? What is he cooking up here? I feel like something big is about to happen.
You think he's plotting?
Totally. Like, you don't get rid of one of the best offensive guards of all time in Joe Thuney unless you have something cooked up. Unless he has something in mind, something big, this is not to be taken lightly. Like, I don't know what it is. I lean towards that they're going to spend at the left tackle position. I think that this is an effort to keep Nick Bolton and Justin Reid potentially, but something is brewing. Something is cooking up, and we just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, just wait and see. He's always thinking of something. Brett Veach from northeastern Pennsylvania.
He's from close to where you're from, right?
Not really close to where I'm from. I'm from Delaware, but I lived about 20, 30 minutes to where Brett Veach is from. We interviewed him at my last job. We interviewed him multiple times and talked about just his journey to get to the Chiefs. It was pretty cool. He's a very, very cool guy. NASCAR fan.
Yes. So Brett Veach, I've interviewed him a couple of times. And he is a big NASCAR fan. Clint Boyer was his favorite driver. Kansas guy, of course, and had a very good career. He's now in the booth at Fox. I asked him at the Super Bowl, I said, hey, since Clinton's retired, who's your driver now? And he said that he spent some time at the Hendrick Motorsports shop in Charlotte, has gotten to know those guys very well. Jeff Gordon raced for Hendrick Motorsports. He's the vice chairman there. And he's a Kyle Larson fan now. Alper and I, if you're very curious, Alper and I are both big NASCAR fans. We just went to the race at Circuit of the Americas in Austin this past weekend.
Hell of a time.
Great time. And there's a lot of things I like about Brett Veach. The fact that he's a NASCAR fan just adds to it. And he's a real one. He's a diehard. He gets the racetrack every chance he gets. That's one thing I love about Brett Veach is that he's not one of these phony fans. He's actually into it.
Oh, yeah. That makes him extremely more likable. I do like these general managers, these coaches that aren't just
robots
that are focused in on football. Like, obviously, you give 100%, you got to be a football psychopath, but you can also branch out a little bit.
Right. And Brett Veach does that. All right. So let's talk Brett Veach. Brett Veach does it again. What is he cooking up this time?
How do we want to start this?
Let's begin with you're watching and put Brett Veach up there with my name badge. And we'll do it that way. What is Brett Veach doing? What is he doing? By the way, folks, I'm not seeing enough likes. Hit that like button. If you haven't already, we need some more likes in here, folks. Hit that like button. And here we are. I literally woke up to this news. And I brought you a YouTube short as fast as I could. Brought you a VOD from my apartment where my Wi-Fi went out because we had a windstorm last night.
Oh, that was so loud.
My internet still out, and so I had to upload the video on my phone while I was driving into the office. And then we got our resources together, and we brought you a video as fast as possible around here. So, folks, if you appreciate what we're doing here, if you're glad to be talking Chiefs football on a Wednesday morning, might I add you, hit the like button. And we appreciate you guys for doing so. If you can hit that like button, we're at 18 likes right now. I know we can do better than that. When you like the video, let us know in the chat. Type me. We'll shout you out. Paul liked the video. Tony liked the video.
There we go.
There we go. We got some more. Keep hitting that like button. And let's talk about Brett Veach now and what he's cooking up here. I got some thoughts. We'll talk about that as we continue here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Jonesy and Alper here with you. Glad to have you with us. We'll talk Brett Veach and what he's doing here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we continue here on today's show. Let's get started. Brett Veach does it again. He is already very active with free agency set to begin here in just a few days from now. Started with the franchise tag on Trey Smith. Then he trades Joe Thuney. What is going on? Very, very interesting. Something is happening here in Kansas City as cap space is opening, and we have some very fascinating moves already going on here. Brett Veach, best GM in football. What is next for this Kansas City Chiefs team? Let's dive in. Let's start with the Joe Thuney trade. So you send him off to the Chicago Bears, and all you get back is a 2026 fourth-round pick. And I know what some of you are thinking. Are you kidding me? You traded a Pro Bowl offensive guard who bailed you out bigly this past season, playing the left tackle position, not his natural position, and all you get in return is a 2026 fourth-round pick. On the surface level, it doesn't sound great. But, might I add, this guy was talked about just a couple days ago as a potential cut candidate. All right? There was a world where Joe Thuney could have been cut, and you got absolutely nothing for him. So that's what I would say. If we're looking at a silver lining of all this, is that you got at least something. And he's 32 years old. You move on from him, and you don't have to pay him, and you stick to your strategy of two things. One of those is that you are staying true to your core, your belief of that you rather move on from a player a year too early than a year too late. And that's what you're doing here with Joe Thuney at 32 years old. He's not getting any younger at this point. But then also you're sticking to your philosophy of that we don't like to give a third contract to a player, as we've seen them do time and time again. So this is one where I have to say to myself, all right, Brett, what do you got? What are you cooking up here? Because although personally, I like Joe Thuney, and I would have loved to seen him stay and loved to get an extension, I have to give Brett Veach the benefit of the doubt. And that is earned based on his track record and the decisions that he's made. You think about the most recent trades that we've seen. The Tyreek Hill situation. People thought he was crazy forever moving on from an all-time wide receiver in Tyreek Hill. Got a haul from that, and the Chiefs didn't miss a beat. In fact, they got better after they moved on from Tyreek Hill. The L'Jarius Sneed trade last year. That wasn't fun, but Jalen Watson played well. You did have some corner issues, but it ultimately, I think, worked out for the most part. So now, the Kansas City Chiefs, I know there's rumblings about playing Kingsley potentially at the left guard spot. I think that this reinforces that they are going to actually spend the money that it takes that's required at the left tackle position. Brett Veach is doing it again. And, you know, do I like it? Let me make it clear. I don't feel comfortable with this trade, but it's a situation of in Veach we trust. He knows more than us. He has a track record that speaks for itself. And I just got to sit here and say, Brett Veach, you know what you're doing here. Let's see what you have something cooked up. I have a feeling that something is on the horizon here. And here's what you have given up now, what you're saying goodbye to in Joe Thuney. Overall grade was fantastic. Near 80 this year. Pass block grade of 82. Run block grade of 73.5. Let's say, for all intents and purposes, that Kingsley is going to slide into that left guard spot. Can we realistically expect 3/4 of that production from Kingsley? Probably not. But if they invest in the left tackle position and get a Ronnie Stanley or a Cam Robinson or maybe even somebody we're not talking about, then there's an opportunity to make up for all of that and still improve this offensive line. So I'm not as concerned as some should be. It's not, I don't feel great about it, but the trust is earned of this move here from Joe Thuney. So I want to ask you guys now, we're putting all hands on deck here for Brett Veach. Do you believe in the Chiefs general manager? Do you trust him? Do you think he's making the right moves here to begin this offseason? You got two options here. Type B for believe, D for don't. Do you think Brett Veach knows what he's doing? Chime in the comments section and let us know what you think on our pinned comment today. Folks, you got to subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report if you haven't already, as we are bringing you the latest happenings on your favorite team. When the trade went down for Joe Thuney, I was still in bed, folks. And you know what I did? I threw on a hat, didn't even have time to fix my hair, and got the YouTube short out, recorded the video. My internet was down at my apartment due to a damn windstorm. Had to use the LTE to upload the video. Whatever makes it work. We make it work here on the Chiefs Report. And we got you covered each and every day on the channel. If you appreciate the work we're doing, if you want more Chiefs content, you got to subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report for the latest happenings on your favorite team each and every day, all offseason long. We went live for the Joe Thuney trade. We're going to be live for free agency. This is your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications. That way you stay up to date with everything going on this offseason. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. So the trade details, you got a fourth-round pick for Joe Thuney. It doesn't sound like much, but as mentioned earlier, he could have been cut, and you could have gotten nothing for Joe Thuney. And now you take care of bringing back none other than Trey Smith. And Trey Smith is just now entering his prime years. And so here's the situation you find yourselves in, all right? You had to take care of the left tackle position. Obviously, you need to figure out what you're doing to the left guard spot. But the center position is as good as it gets with Creed Humphrey. The right guard position is as good as it gets with Trey Smith. And Jawan Taylor is kind of steady Eddie at the right tackle spot, although I wish he would not get penalized as much. But you are saying we are investing in our young products, that we're going to stay young. Forever young. I want to be forever young. We want to live forever. We want to live forever young. And that's what the Chiefs are doing with this offensive line of saying goodbye to Joe Thuney here. And ultimately, if it came down to it, of making a decision of we can only keep one or the other, Trey Smith or Joe Thuney, that's the right call to choose Trey Smith over Joe Thuney here. Now, here's another thing to keep in mind. So you've made these two moves, and you freed up some cap space with Joe Thuney being traded, about $16 million. Nick Bolton's in play to keep him around. Justin Reid's in play to keep him around. And you got some more money that you could potentially spend in the process as well for other free agents, or whether it's your draft picks. And you did add some draft capital for next year as well. So it's not all bad. This is one where we just say trust the process. That we sit here, we take our time, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I believe in Brett Veach, and everything is going to be okay. Let me ask you a quick question here. What's going to be the next move for the Kansas City Chiefs? Now that we've seen some big moves the last couple days with trading Joe Thuney, with franchise tagging Trey Smith, what is going to be the next big move? Is it re-signing Nick Bolton? Is it going to be re-signing Justin Reid? Is it going to be a big free agent signing next week? Predict for me in the comments section what that is, that next big move for Brett Veach. Let us know. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now for free for the latest happenings on your favorite team all off season long. Going to be a very eventful next couple of days. We'll have you covered right here on the channel. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. So there you have it. That is our breakdown. And we just kind of rolled with the punches. Folks, there was no script there. We just made it happen. Joe Thuney traded to the Chicago Bears. I'm going to put a minute on the clock. If we get a super chat of him out, we can stay live. We can keep this thing going. Otherwise, we can sign off, and Alpert and I can get to some other things that we need to do here. But Alpert, as we're wrapping up, final thoughts here. I don't like it, but I understand it.
Yeah, I was a little, when I woke up, I was like, whoa. Being a Patriots fan, Joe Thuney was like, yeah, that's probably he's your leader of your offensive line. You're getting rid of him, but it's the future. What is the future going to hold? What is Brett Veach plotting? Because you don't trade a guy like Joe Thuney if you don't have other things in mind.
Right.
So what is he going to do? And we got free agency in Monday.
Yes. Free agency Monday. We'll have live coverage right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Reports. Don't miss out on free agency right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Alper, fun time today.
Yes.
All on the fly. We made it happen. What a first show for you to be involved in.
When I came in, I was like, like, oh, I'm with Tyler today. Oh, we going live.
And we got another live show to do on another channel, so it's going to be a very busy day for us.
Busy day.
But nonetheless, appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for stopping by. More coverage on the channel throughout the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. He's Brett Alper. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report. So long, everybody.